Well, there are two different points of view on this. Mahesh, Jethmalani, Ujjwal, Nikam on one side, along with Ratan, Sharda, author and RSS thinker. Ujjwal, Nikam joining us in a couple of minutes. Aryama and Sundaram, senior advocate of the Supreme Court. Gagan, Sethi, activist, is chairperson of Vikas Center for Social Justice. KTS Tulsi, along with Waris, Pathan are on one side. Thank you very much. Gentlemen, let's debate this. Ujjwal, Nikam joining us in some time. The first and most critical point, Aryama and Sundaram, I'd like to start with you, is to make it very clear tonight that every single legal option that Yakub exercised in the aftermath of the curative petition being dismissed earlier this month, it is only after that that they have come up with a decision not to stay his execution. The court has looked into every legal claim about the death warrant, arrived at a clear conclusion. There is no legal fallacy in the issue of a death warrant, and the court has said there is no procedural irregularity. Already, Aryama and Sundaram, everything legally available has therefore been presented. Is it time now to stop the politicization of this matter? Stop trying to make this issue a test case for the death penalty debate, or for activists to take one side and present a case flawed that the Indian state and the system has not been fair to Yakub Memon? Aryama and Sundaram, I start with you and then it's an open debate.
Arnab, without a doubt, this case is going to be a platform for all those who are activists against the death penalty. Look, I look at it very simply. I personally am against the death penalty. And let me tell you that if there was ever a case for a death penalty, as long as it exists in India, this was obviously a case where, considering the nature of the crime, 250 odd people killed, the kind of blast there was, the fact that he was guilty, there is no doubt about the fact that he was guilty. The only question came about the sentence. According to me, there should be no death sentence in India at all, but that's subject matter of another debate of yours. But otherwise, every procedure which was to be followed has been followed in his case. In fact, this is one of those rare cases, I'd say one of the rarest of rare cases, where a person has been heard for more than 10 days on a review petition. Now, the fact is, after all that, he has been found guilty, and that nobody doubts. He has been given a death sentence, which, so long as it exists on our statute books, if we were ever to give such a death sentence, this could legitimately be said to be such a case.
Agreed.
Now, according to me, no death sentence at all. But as long as it's there, all the procedures to be followed are followed. Now, that comes to the question which you raised. Why is it being politicized? Why is it being done?
Yeah.
I think because deep down, there's a basic guilt amongst most of us about the death sentence. And therefore, even in as heinous a crime as this, we still have so much debating on it, because I think Indian conscience is going away from the death sentence.
Mr. Sundaram, slight point of disagreement, if I may, though I don't want to enter the debate with you, it's between you and the others. This is not about the death penalty, because a lot of the people out here, like the All India AIMIM, which has picked up the issue, is picking it up only and only purely for political reasons.
That's without a doubt. I wasn't referring to them. That is Arnab, those are totally motivated.
Political reasons, Arnab.
Those are totally motivated who are purposely trying to politicize it. That is ridiculous.
Punishment, Arnab. Now the Supreme Court judgment is out. Supreme Court judgment is there.
Yes, it is.
The judgment is very disappointing and setback that Yakub Memon is given capital punishment before the perpetrators of the Babri Masjid demolition and the subsequent riots that took place in Mumbai.
Don't politicize it tonight.
Are given punishment.
No, don't politicize it tonight.
The Commission says
Waris
that Babri
Pathan
Masjid was the origin sin. Why don't you hang those people who are involved in killing 900 innocent people? Why are they moving scot-free? And why only Yakub Memon? Why is the state government in such a hurry to give capital punishment and hang Yakub Memon to gallows? Why not give capital punishment to Rajiv Gandhi's assassins who are moving freely out in the country?
First of all,
why not hang
Mr. Pathan,
Singh's assassins? Had the hang
Mr. Pathan,
yesterday,
Mr. Pathan, a minute, Mr. Pathan, I need to make one point to you.
Failed to counter the terrorism, and that is why Gurdaspur took place. And Ben Singh's assassin should have been hanged first, and then you hang Yakub Memon.
Now, Mr. Waris Pathan.
Hang Yakub Memon, but
Mr. Pathan, Mr. Pathan, a minute, please stop. Please stop, Mr. Pathan. Please stop. Mr. Pathan, you are in an outdoor location. If you continue to, please stop. Just a minute, it's an open debate, don't go non-stop. Couple of points, and I'd like to get Mahesh, Jethmalani and Ratan Sharda on one side. Just let's be very clear about one thing. And let us tonight, Mr. Pathan, speak with a little bit of a sense of responsibility. This has nothing to do with religion, because the law is equal for one and all. This has nothing to do with religion. Hey, no, one second. Mahesh Jethmalani will respond to you. Mahesh Jethmalani will respond to you, sir, not me. Not me. Sir, not me.
Let me allow to give a message to the nation today through your channel, Arnab. I want to give a message to the nation through your channel that whatsoever happened, the Supreme Court judgment has come. Whatever the President files, whatever President gives the order, peace and tranquility should be maintained. We should not take law and order in our hand. This is a message I want to give to the entire nation through your channel, Arnab. I am trying to give a message to your channel that peace has to be maintained. Let us accept the judgment. Let us accept the President's rule. But
so,
Mr.
Pathan,
has not been given to
Mr. Pathan, now, one second, Mr. Pathan. One second, Mr. Pathan, I appreciate the first point you made. Now, please, I request you, listen to the other side. There's Mahesh Jethmalani on the other side. We need to emphasize this. This is nothing to do with religion. Law is equal for all. The same process is followed for everyone, whether it's Dhananjay Chatterjee, Ajmal Kasab or Yakub Memon. Please remember that. And say that also with all equal sense of responsibility to everyone. Do not, in television shows, speak one language and go out there, Mr. Waris Pathan, and speak another language when you're trying to build a political vote bank. Mahesh Jethmalani, there are lessons out of the kind of debate that has happened where one side tries to communally polarize the debate. Mahesh Jethmalani, please. Mr. Jethmalani. Mr. Jethmalani.
Well, you know, Arnab, I mean, there's been this tendency, particularly on the part of the AIMIM, started by Mr. Owaisi, to politicize, to actually communalize this entire thing and gain, as you said, a political vote bank. It's very unfortunate. It ought not to be done. I mean, let's be very clear that a terrorist, and particularly a terrorist who's a mastermind of a terrorist conspiracy, deserves the death penalty no matter what, whether he's Hindu, Muslim, Sikh. Let's make it unequivocal so that there's no doubt. I mean, this kind of victim kind of hysteria which Mr. Pathan is trying to raise and trying to sort of, you know, incite a particular community is most unfortunate. Nobody is going to, no law-abiding citizen of any community in this country should be perturbed by the fact that Yakub Memon is getting his just desserts. He killed 257 people in cold blood. And please,
let him complete.
There is no cycle of violence.
Let him complete.
There is no cycle of violence that justifies what he did.
Let him complete,
I mean,
Mr. Pathan.
Mr. Pathan should realize, and Mr. Pathan and Mr. Owaisi should realize, by the same logic of reasoning, by the same logic which they are now advancing, the perpetrators of the Gujarat riots were fully justified because of what happened to the Kar Sevaks in the compartment 2 days prior to the riots. So please don't get into the cycle of violence argument. It is pernicious, it is dangerous, and it will only promote those who are intent on spreading communal disharmony in this country. Secondly, Mr. Pathan says that what is the hurry for Mr. Yakub Memon to be hung? This bomb blast took place in 1993. There were 12 serial bomb blasts that took place in March 1993. Please, this is now 2015. Mr. Yakub Memon has a long time. He first took safe refuge in a safe house with the ISI in Pakistan, returned to this company, had a long tenure here, has exhausted every possible avenue available to him legally, three layers of trial, appeal, and appeal to the Supreme Court, 2 review petitions, 2 curative petitions. He's had full justice, and enough time has passed now. And unfortunately, everybody has decided that he deserves the death penalty.
And
so there is no delay either.
The critical question, Mr. Jethmalani, is a word which matters tonight, which KTS Tulsi and Gagan Sethi. One second, Mr. Pathan. Mr. Pathan, I'll come to you. There are other panelists. I'm coming to you. To KTS Tulsi. Mr. Pathan.
Senior Ram Jethmalani.
Mr. Pathan, I'm just getting other panelists. I'll come to you. We have time. Now let us remember. Let us remember Gagan Sethi, KTS Tulsi, and I'd like to get Ratan Sharda at this point. We need closure. Closure, Mr. Tulsi, closure, Gagan Sethi. You need closure to the families of 257 people who were killed on the 12th of March, 1993, a conspiracy that Yakub Memon, despite whatever position you may have, Mr. Sethi, was a part of. You need closure to the victims of 12 horrendous blasts Mr. KTS Tulsi across the city of Mumbai on the 12th of March 1993. Closure to the families of 20 people who died near the Air India building at Nariman Point when the fourth bomb went off at 2:33. Closure for the families of 84 people who died during the first blast at the Bombay Stock Exchange at 1:30 p.m. We don't forget what happened. Now you tell us, Mr. Tulsi and Mr. Gagan Sethi, and I pit your views against Ratan Sharda's tonight. What about closure? It is the most critical point. Yes, Gagan Sethi. What about closure?
Let me come here. I think, first of all, we are all very clear that it was a dastardly act. The legal process has been done, and we all respect the Supreme Court. There is no question about that. That the law has spoken. The next question really is that if you remember, from 2004 to 2013, there were 1,303 death penalties awarded, of which only 3 have been executed till now. No. Therefore, I would say that the state till now and the courts till now have been extremely cautious in awarding this. The last 2 have been really not civil cases.
No, the same state. No, one second. Can I counter you for a minute? One minute. Can I counter you for a minute, Mr. Sethi? In fact, I believe your point contradicts your earlier point. If the state has been, I wouldn't use the word selective, discriminating, using facts at its disposal to decide who should hang or not, that in fact proves that the system cannot be questioned. And hence all lobbies today.
All I am saying is, Arnab,
no, that argument of a bloodthirsty state, Mr. Sethi, understand, the argument, the state is bloodthirsty. We don't have a bloodthirsty state. If there's anyone who's bloodthirsty, it's Yakub Memon and the conspirators.
All I am saying is that does the death penalty bring an appropriate revenge and closure? So be it. But the point really remains that a revenge is no punishment. A punishment has to be, and from my point of view, if he was put for life till he died in a hard way, that has been a much bigger punishment than just sniffing him off, because that he finishes it.
Again, we'll get Ratan Sharda to respond to you now, please, but I believe that your ideological position to the death penalty should mean an exoneration of Yakub's involvement. That does not make sense, Mr. Sethi, because
nobody is saying that.
Sir,
everybody is saying he is guilty of a very dastardly act, and he should be punished severely.
Then please also appreciate, though Ratan Sharda will respond to you, that opposing the death penalty doesn't take away from the heinous nature of the crime, and if I may say so, the depravity associated with it. Ratan Sharda countering. Gagan Sethi, please. Ratan Sharda.
First of all, let me counter Mr. Pathan.
Go ahead.
Since 1947, there have been 1,414 executions, death penalties to people, out of which only 72 are Muslims. So this talk of partiality is totally nonsensical. You should look at the actual history. Yeah, Mr. Pathan, you should look at actual history. Secondly, if you look at the love that people shower...
No, one second. We must get Mr. Pathan, in fact, one second. Mr. Pathan,
we are talking about justice.
Mr. Pathan, a point being made here tonight by Ratan Sharda is this. Article 14 of the Indian Constitution, equality before law. Equality before law.
Got the political backing from the Tamils.
Sir, don't convert the argument, Mr. Pathan.
So now you're...
Stop throwing vague arguments. Listen to another thing. Only in India, you got the minorities taking top post in every field. Military, forces, police...
But this has nothing to do with religion, Mr. Sharda.
Yes, but then he's talking of. I am saying
he's wrong.
No difference.
Well, he's wrong.
I am saying in India there is no difference. So trying to create the difference, you are playing politics.
Well,
Today is a day when there should be no politics. It's a very somber moment. It's a closure. It's a relief that a case since 1993 has come to a closure, rather than keep on scratching, creating, creating new wounds. We should close the matter. There is no reason to be happy or unhappy. It's a state decision. It's a court decision. You don't respect courts.
Killed during the riots.
Pathan doesn't respect courts.
Who were killed in Gujarat?
I think.
Don't keep on repeating. If I were to get into global history of Islamic terror, it would become a very.
This has nothing to do with religion.
Do so.
No, this is.
He has to stop making all these propaganda statements.
Okay, can I come in between both of you and Ujjwal Nikam joins the debate? Ujjwal Nikam on one side, KTS Tulsi on the other. On an interesting debate tonight.
Let me
watch
one more point.
Okay, quickly, please.
Mr. Narang talked about hurry in putting people to death.
Mr. Gagan Sethi.
Remember, Mr. Gagan Sethi, remember today a speaker talked about obscene hurry of putting people to death. But remember, Rajiv Gandhi's killers have been let off the hook because the decision was not taken in time. It's today's Supreme Court decision. So what do you talk about that?
Okay, good counter there. And I'd now like to bring Ujjwal Nikam on the side with KTS Tulsi to complete the flow of all the panelists on the debate. After that, we can take this discussion forward. We, Mr. KTS Tulsi, are discussing the issue of closure. Now, as far as closure is concerned, there are 113 people who died at Century Bazaar in Worli in a very, very crowded area at 2:45 p.m. when the 6th bomb went off. Who will give them closure? There are families of 17 people who died at Zaveri Bazaar after 14 minutes at 3 p.m. Who will give them closure? There are families of 10 people who died near Plaza Cinema in Dadar when the next blast went off at 3:15 p.m. Who will bring them closure? There are families of 2 people who died at Hotel Airport, I think Centaur near the airport, around 3:40 p.m. Who will bring them closure? Sir, how can you say today, or anyone, we are interested in an intellectual discussion on the death penalty? Don't discuss the issue of whether the families of the victims need closure. KTS Tulsi, please. Closure is required, Mr. Tulsi, isn't it? And Ujjwal Nikam will respond.
It is most preeminently required, and I can say that there can be no doubt about the guilt of the most horrendous crime that has been committed after independence in India. I was myself a counsel for 5 years for the CBI doing this case in the Supreme Court.
Yes.
And I'm privy to the evidence. And I can say that if there is any case in which death sentence is the only punishment that can be awarded, it is this case. And closure will come only when the life is snuffed out, because that's the only deterrence which is created with the fear of loss of life. It's the fear of loss of life which sends a message to the entire community.
Gagan Sethi.
This is the only sentence which has deterrence. And I've always been a votary for the death sentence. I say that it must be. India has in fact achieved a perfect balance by saying that we will award it only in the rarest or rare. And in the last 60 years, we have executed less than 50 people.
Then why this?
Whereas China executes more than 10,000.
Then why? No, my question is, if this is so logical and this is so obvious, Ujjwal Nikam, before I come to you, I want to hear one view from the other side. Let Gagan Sethi or Waris Pathan say this. For example, let Gagan Sethi argue tonight, if this is so necessary, one of the key members of the plot to terrorize Mumbai to be brought to book, it's necessary. He's the archer, the architect and the driving spirit of the blast. Gagan Sethi, he needs to be brought to book. This is not part of some academic debate on the death penalty. The man who was one of the brains involved in hatching the conspiracy, the dominant position, significant role that he carried out, there needs to be closure on this. You don't expect the system to look the other way and get involved in your academic debate on whether the death penalty is required. Your response, please, and then Ujjwal Nikam on the other side. On a day we are discussing...
Not at all. It's not an academic debate. We were some of those people who actually fought for many cases in the Gujarat riot, and we never pressed for death penalty. But having said that, let me say, if you think that this is closure, we are very happy. We are very happy that if 257 families will feel that they have found a closure and this is settled, it's all right. But I still think this will not be a closure. This will, if the death penalties are never closures in any part of the world. Terrorism will not stop because of death penalty.
Ujjwal Nikam, Ujjwal Nikam, by that argument,
drug trade
by that argument.
So I just think,
sir, by that argument, he's not any other person. I'd like to tell you before I get Ujjwal Nikam on this. He is the man. Sir, Gagan Sethi,
severely punished.
Gagan Sethi,
he is only saying. I think you should distinguish Nobody is excusing the person. He is a perpetrator of the worst order. So there is no question of defending him. All we are talking of is that is death penalty a solution?
Sir,
and if the president feels so, sir, we will respect it.
Sir, the death penalty exists in the statute books.
Than just laws.
Sir, the death penalty exists in the statute books. The death penalty is constitutionally allowed right now in the rarest of rare cases, in cases such as this. Now let us remember, as Ujjwal Nikam points out, let all viewers know this is a person who was involved in the deliberate choosing of the targets as per the Supreme Court. He chose Century Bazaar, he chose Zawari Bazaar, he chose Katha Bazaar, he chose the Stock Exchange building. He's not any other person. He handled the explosive bags in the lead up to the blast. He conducted the Hawala operations. He got the tickets for the co-conspirators to go to Dubai and then to Pakistan. He made arrangements for the loading and boarding of all the plotters who went to Pakistan. And he's the person who purchased the motor vehicles to prepare to use the bombs and plant them at all the important locations with a clear and specific purpose that the bombs be placed in such a way that the maximum number of innocent Indians die. Now, who is going to argue on the other side? Gagan, Sethi, these are unquestionable facts. You are also aware of it. I think the activists have mixed up, got the wrong case. In this case, picked up the wrong case to try and make what they feel is a good point. Ujjwal Nikam arguing now. Ujjwal Nikam on the other side. Ujjwal Nikam and Mahesh Jethmalani coming to you. Ujjwal Nikam. Ujjwal Nikam.
Arnab, we have to make a clear distinction between two categories of persons. The first category, the people who hatch the criminal conspiracy, and the second category is of the person who act in pursuance of the criminal conspiracy. And that is the reason why the Supreme Court has confirmed the death penalty to the conspirator and set aside the death penalty of the planters. This would give a clear idea as to the law takes a very stern action in respect of the conspirator. Because of this conspirator, the further atrocities were committed by the perpetrators. In fact, according to my knowledge also, when I was examining the witness in the bomb blast court, you see the planters were not even knowing as to what they had planted in the vehicle. They were told only that this is a Kala Sabur. And this idea was given by the Memon people. And therefore, Yakub, Tiger, they are in the same scale. We can't make any distinction between the prime conspirator or secondary conspirator. No, absolutely it would be wrong. And why we want a death penalty as a deterrent, what Mr. Tulsi has rightly said, that it is given in the exceptional cases, not only to punish the very criminal, but to give a strong message to the like-minded people. Now the question would come up, whether this closure would give a strong signal to the others or not. In my emphatic contention, I would say yes, because since long time it was deliberately tried on behalf of the other our neighboring adjoining country, as I may say that Pakistan, certain organizations were motivating our people, Indian people of different caste, religion, to do certain terrorist acts. And therefore the terror was exported from the Pakistan. But recently, after the Kasab's case, we will find
Waris Pathan.
Pakistani people themselves are coming and doing the terrorist act. And therefore, this would be a strong signal to our people also
Arnab,
that if you indulge in any nefarious activity,
Mr. Nikam, as
they will face the same consequence.
That Yakub surrendered. Don't you feel that the country was trying to get evidence for so many years against Pakistan? And this man comes here, he surrenders. And he helps the investigating agency. He gives evidence against Pakistan. And you hang the person. Is this justice? You mean to say that Yakub did not
I would like to raise a simple question.
Okay, Mr. Pathan, listen to him. He's responding to you.
Against the Pakistani government.
Ujjwal Nikam responding to you.
Mr. Waris,
we're asking for evidence.
Mr. Waris, at least now you are a basically lawyer. At least you should talk on sense. You don't talk like a political leader. Yakub Memon, Waris, please, Mr. Waris. Mr. Waris, you are in habit in lingering your talk. I never disturb you. You now please listen what I am saying to you. Yakub had never produced any evidence. Yakub did not cross-examine.
No, 1 second. Both sides stop. Ujjwal Nikam, stop. 1 second. Ujjwal Nikam and Waris Pathan, stop. 1 second. You cannot, Mr. Pathan and Mr. Nikam. 1 second, Mr. Pathan, Ujjwal Nikam has stopped. You also stop 1 minute. You're making points I say Mr. Pathan and Mr. Nikam, both lawyers distinguished in their own right. Hear the other side, gentlemen. This debate is important. I only put one caveat tonight. We discuss legally. We discuss factually. We can counter each other's points. I have two things. Don't say anything at this point of time which disrespects the court and compromises at any time social amity. That's point number one. Point number two I'm making tonight, when one side is making their point, gentlemen, hear the other side. So, yeah, Waris Pathan, you asked a question, let him complete. I will then give you time to respond and we'll take the debate forward. Mahesh Jethmalani, I'm going to come to you also in some time. Please, Mr. Nikam, conclude your points.
I would like to divulge 4 facts. First fact is that Yakub had never disclosed the theory of the surrender, nor he himself had examined on oath, nor he cross-examined the chief investigator who actually arrested this Yakub Memon. This first thing. Secondly, the alleged theory that he helped the investigator in disclosing the Pakistan's involvement, that is again absolutely false. Let me tell you, initially Mumbai police, I was representing that time Mumbai police initially, Mumbai police had filed a charge sheet against all these accused for the waging of war against the government of India.
Okay.
Had Yakub Memon had given any evidence, we would not have withdrawn that charge. We have withdrawn because we have no work material to disclose that there is an involvement of Pakistan.
Waris Pathan, my question to you now. My question to you now, Mr. Pathan.
As your investigating agency said, Yakub Memon travelled on a Pakistani passport and was given Indian visa.
Mr. Pathan, may I remind you?
I'm asking you a question. Kindly answer to my question. You
Mr. Pathan, no, we will not look back.
Not show the Pakistani.
Mr. Pathan.
Did not help you in your investigation.
Now, Mr. Pathan, hello, this is Arnab here. Can you hear me? Please stop. I have a question for you. My question for you, Mr. Pathan, is this. 1 second. And Mahesh Jethmalani, Ratan, Sharda can feel free to come into the debate. After I ask this question, I get an answer, hopefully, from Mr. Waris Pathan. Mr. Pathan, point number 1, 2 limited points to you. This is not the occasion to go into the merits of the case. The Honorable Supreme Court of India, in several hearings, review petitions, security petitions, has settled the case. My problem, my fundamental problem, Waris Pathan, with your perspective is this, that you call today's decision a setback. Mahesh Jethmalani, my fundamental issue with Waris Pathan's party, including that of his party leader Asaduddin Owaisi, is that he says today's decision, Mahesh Jethmalani, is a setback. Tell me, Mr. Jethmalani, is it a setback for the 257 people who died? For their families? Is it a setback for that one of the masterminds of the Mumbai blast has been brought to book? Is it a setback, Waris Pathan, that a terrorist who conspired in one of India's worst terror attacks has been brought to book? Is it a setback? Is it a setback that the courts in India?
Goswami, of course. What happened to
what is the setback?
People, Mr. Goswami,
apologize for using the word setback.
900 people who were killed during the 92-93 riots. Did they get justice?
Mr. Pathan,
get justice?
Mr. Pathan,
this eye for an eye and is the Sri Krishna Commission report tabled?
I'm sorry, that's
justice. Our
Mahesh Jethmalani
are with those 257 people who are killed.
You are going on and on that, Mr. Pathan. Please remember this. I am asking my problem, Mahesh Jethmalani, is with the use of the word setback. Mahesh Jethmalani responding now.
No, this can't be, nobody in their right mind should call this a setback.
Exactly.
Maybe your problem.
Unless you're a sympathizer of...
This is democracy. I have a right to canvass more.
Let Mahesh Jethmalani speak.
You have a right to canvass, but you have a right also to... You also have a duty to listen, not just a right to canvass. This is not some ex-party hearing you're going on in some court. You also have a right to, a duty to hear others who have patiently listened to you.
Go ahead, Mr. Jethmalani, go ahead.
Now... Of course.
Now, it cannot be a setback except for those who consider the activities of Mr. Yakub Memon to be legitimate, to be something which advances the interests of the country. To anybody else, this is not a setback. In fact, it is upholding the majesty of the law. There's been a long protracted trial in many appeals and review petitions and curative petitions. This is the law has finally closed the book as far as this chapter is concerned, and everybody should welcome it. It's unfortunate for the family of Yakub Memon that this is the result, but for the rest of the country, the majesty
Mr.
of the law has been upheld. Just one more point, Arnab, just one more point about what Gagan Sethi said. He says that there will be no closure by a death sentence. I disagree. The death sentence in such matters is something of, which affords the greatest amount of deterrence. Please note that after what has happened to Kasab, you will not have many people wanting to rot in Indian jails and ultimately be hung nondescript with nobody to mourn them in India. No Pakistani will hereafter dare to come into this country. And
terrorism in any form is totally deplorable. Terrorism, we cannot accept terrorism in any form.
Then why did you use the word setback? What is a setback? Is it a setback? No. Is it a setback? 1 second. Aryaman Sundaram is countering you. Aryaman Sundaram. Aryaman Sundaram and then Gagan Sethi. Aryaman Sundaram. Aryaman Sundaram. Aryaman Sundaram.
I just want to add one thing.
Aryaman Sundaram, please. Aryaman Sundaram, please.
Arnab, I just want to add one thing to what Mahesh just said. He's absolutely correct. What was today's hearing about? The man has already been found guilty. The man has already been sentenced. His reviews have already been heard. His reviews have already been dismissed. His curative has already been dismissed. Today he has gone to court claiming that on a procedural issue, the actual implementation of the death sentence is not correctly being done. The court says no, procedurally it is all right. And yet, when a statement is made, today's judgment was a setback, are they saying it is a setback because the court allowed it to proceed without the procedure being corrected?
Precisely.
If the procedure had been corrected, it would have resulted in the same thing, but a bit later. What is being referred to as a setback now is the entire sentencing, which happened long ago. Which means what you're really hearing are people objecting to him being convicted or punished. A man who has killed 250 people.
Gagan Sethi, that's the point tonight. Joining the debate now.
Small points.
I want to get the other side. Ratan Sharda, coming back to you. Tushar Gandhi joins the debate. Mahesh Jethmalani is on the debate. John Dayal, who's been one of the signatories in that, he's an activist. He's General Secretary of the All India Christian Council. He joins the debate. Sanjay Hegde will be joining us in some time. Yes, please, Mahesh Jethmalani. The question today is what is a setback and what is not.
Yes,
Mr. Jethmalani, go ahead.
I just want to make one point.
Yeah.
Just one point. Please. Yeah. About deterrence.
Yeah.
You know, again, coming back to deterrence. If the death sentence was not such a deterrence, then I assure you, Yakub Memon would not have put such a desperate and protracted struggle up to save
Tushar Gandhi.
That itself proves what a deterrence this is.
Tushar Gandhi countering you. 1 second. Don't go, Mahesh Jethmalani. Don't go. Because he's countering you. Tushar Gandhi. Yeah.
Crime hasn't been stopped. Death sentences have been there for ages and ages, and crime hasn't gone down. There is no deterrence with the death penalty, and especially for those who come with the motive to die, death does not deter them.
Ratan Sharda.
I mean, scrap the death sentence.
Nothing has stopped, so we should scrap all the laws.
No.
Let the law of the jungle. That's very unfair argument. Now let me come to Mr. Pathan.
He's responding to you. So go ahead. You can tell him directly, please. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
You can make your point directly to him.
I made a point that when he says that the crime didn't stop, that means thefts don't stop, rapes don't stop. So scrap all the laws. Let the law of the jungle leave, because this is the way we human beings lived earlier on. So there is no civilized society. Just let it be.
How much more simplified do you want to be?
No, this is not simplified.
It's
not simplified.
I have not said pardon Yakub. I'm saying death sentence is evil.
Yes, but
and I'm maintaining that. It doesn't mean that I say that there shouldn't be any law or no implementation.
So with the greatest of respect for you,
morality
with the
counts that death sentence is evil, and it must be admitted.
I think with the greatest of respect to you, and at a personal level, Tushar Gandhi, you know I have great personal regard for you. So I like to preface what I'm about to say by saying that so you don't misunderstand. The fact of the matter is the kind of argument that you're presenting, which I fear John Dayal also believes in, and which I fear Gagan Sethi also believes in, is the most confused position I could have heard in a long time. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you why it is a confused position. The fact is, Tushar Gandhi, consider this, be open-minded. Your ideological opposition to the death penalty has become an excuse your John Dayal, Gagan Sethi, an excuse to oppose Yakub's sentence on other pretexts. Your opposition to the death penalty...
death penalty is reprehensible.
We're not talking about anyone.
Well,
we're not talking about anyone.
I'll talk about that too. At the moment, it is Yakub who's going to be murdered under judicial orders, and so
Ujjwal
we
Nikam,
talk about
Ujjwal
that
Nikam,
right
Ujjwal Nikam and Aryaman Sundaram can come into the debate. This whole argument is this. My point tonight, Ujjwal Nikam, is this. The opposition to the death penalty has become an excuse for certain activists to oppose Yakub Memon's death sentence by citing procedural lapses and issuing his death warrant. Today you've been proven wrong.
The spotlight is on this case, and that's why it is...
You want the spotlight to be on this case.
The spotlight has to be on the morality and ethicality of the death sentence.
So you admit tonight you are trying to put the spotlight on the death penalty issue.
I told you yesterday I was an opportunist.
Big admission on the Newshour tonight.
I told you I am an opportunist and I'll take every opportunity to put my point forward.
Your admission that you're being an opportunist does not take away from the fact that in this case opportunism is the last thing that we need. Ujjwal Nikam, please.
In the fight against the death sentence, every opportunity has to be exploited.
Then admit tonight that your opposition to the death penalty has become an excuse for your opposition to this sentence by claiming you made a claim. You made a claim. Allow me to complete. Allow me to complete.
My opposition to the death penalty is because I believe in the right of life.
The same topic goes that if you put somebody behind bars for 10 years for a theft, that means you are spoiling the person's life.
You are not taking anybody's life.
Take him to reform.
You are not taking... By hanging anybody, have you reformed? By hanging a person, have you reformed that person? By hanging the person... By hanging the person...
Yakub has spent 20 years in the jail.
By hanging a person...
Of his life.
How many criminals have you reformed by hanging them?
That's no argument in this case.
It is.
It is not an argument.
It may not be convenient to you, but it is a valid point.
Sir,
it may not be convenient to you, and I am going to allow you to not believe
in me. Society is not utopia, Mr. Tushar Gandhi.
Well, I'll keep fighting.
No, I'm really sorry tonight.
Society may not be utopia, but it does not stop from trying to make it into a utopia. Just this evening,
utopias.
I was told that when Ram Rajya is established, we'll do away with the death penalty.
May I say something? Utopia will not be served by uttering falsehoods.
No,
Mr. Tushar Gandhi, one second. No
matter what you brand me as.
Sir, I am
no matter what you brand me as, I will keep saying what I believe is the truth. You can abuse me, you can cast aspersions on my belief.
This is not the time for a...
I don't care.
This is not the time...
Don't try to be a martyr, Mr. Tushar Gandhi.
Yeah, Mr. Gandhi, don't try to be a martyr.
I am the most qualified to speak against the death penalty because I come from a family where India's first plea for against the death penalty was done by my grandfather and his brothers to get a pardon for their father's murderers. So please don't preach penalty not being valid and me not being legitimate in talking against the death penalty.
Mr. Tushar Gandhi, Nathuram Godse was not spared. Don't forget that, Nathuram Godse was not spared.
Nathuram Godse was not spared because we pander to the emotion of revenge in the name of justice.
I am sorry that you are saying this, Mr. Tushar Gandhi, on the program tonight.
Not spared because we have the atavistic pleasure of taking life in the name of justice.
And Mr. Tushar Gandhi, your being a member, Gandhi does not take away from the fact, and I'll say this to you very directly, that you were wrong in claiming that there were others who were far more guilty than Yakub Memon was, and it was unfair for him to be singled out. Your being a member of the Gandhi family does not take away from the truth in this matter, as has been rightly put out by the Supreme Court of India, Mr. Gandhi.
We have
this has nothing to do with Gandhi.
Made versions of the truth, and everybody tries to believe that their version of the truth.
Okay, opening up to the debate.
It isn't. Opening up truth.
Opening up, Aryaman Sundaram. Sorry, Aryaman Sundaram, Ujjwal Nikam can come back into the debate. John Dayal coming in. Sanjay Hegde, I see you. RSN Singh, welcome. Aryaman Sundaram first.
Arnab, you know what struck me as most unfortunate? I find it very, very unfortunate because I myself, I am a great advocate for the abolition of the death sentence. But why is this big fuss being made over this case?
Exactly.
Is it really by people who are keen on having the death sentence abolished? Or is it by people who want to use this as a political mileage, as a tool to rouse certain passions between different communities? That is my concern.
Why do you call yourself an opportunist?
I was just hearing somebody saying...
Listen to him.
I was just hearing somebody saying that, look here, why should you punish this man? Why don't you punish the people who demolished Babri Masjid? What they're really saying is, don't punish this man for what he did, because he's got a righteous revenge for what was done to Babri Masjid. And that is the feeling which is being stirred. Not the issue of the death sentence itself.
John Dayal responding.
An excuse.
Let John Dayal
I myself am for abolishing the death sentence. But this case, unfortunately, is being used by people pretending to voice that voice, but really rousing up communal passion, which shouldn't be there.
Exactly. And if I may add to that,
people to rightly, he has admitted to raise communal passion.
I'm sorry,
on the side of making it into
and Mr. Gandhi,
Yakub Memon,
and Mr. Gandhi,
this is the fight
Mr. Tushar
against
Gandhi,
the death sentence.
Mr. Tushar Gandhi, I have no intention of not letting you speak. You've been speaking more than the others, and Ujjwal Nikam can respond to you. But Mr. Tushar Gandhi, let it be known to you that the politicization of terror in any case is wrong. And just because it has happened previously, in any case, Bian Singh, Rajiv case, whatever case, does not mean that it should happen again. And also be known that somebody could be shooting off your shoulders, and I wonder why you lend your shoulders to those who want to politicize these cases. John Dayal responding. John Dayal, I'm not. It's not between you and me. I told you I have personal regard for you. I have personal regard for you, John Dayal.
You may have personal regard for me, but on TV
John Dayal,
I'm going to defend my honor.
John Dayal, I disagree with you, sir. It's still a democracy.
Fine,
John Dayal.
Fine.
John Dayal.
Sir.
Yes, John Dayal.
Sir, tomorrow in less than 12 hours, this man will be dead. But day after, if there's any other death penalty, I will still be there on the road speaking against it.
Me too.
That is my agenda. Such barbaric laws should be taken off. That is all. This man is a criminal. There is no question of discussing that. Of course,
personal views do not matter, and I would like to take the case that Tushar Gandhi put, and I get Ujjwal Nikam to come into this. Please. No, one second. First of all, in the case of Mahatma Gandhi's assassin, murderer, assassin, Nathuram Godse.
Murderer.
1 second, please. Please remember, pardon was not for the Gandhi family to give. Mahatma. So I'm sorry. Let me complete.
I never said.
No. One second. Let me complete. The Mahatma belonged.
The family asked.
I'm sorry.
The family asked,
sir,
for a pardon, commuting of the death sentence which was there.
Sir,
right?
Please. Now you're not letting me speak. You're not being democratic about it. Sir, let me correct you. Let me correct you. Let me correct you.
Bapu,
am I?
Please get yourself educated.
I am educated. I need not educate like you. I have my own education. You have your own.
No. One second.
I want to give him a reference.
I want to give you. You let me complete my sentence.
No.
You let me complete what I'm saying.
On me, and I'm going to
He's made no allegation.
He has made an allegation.
He's making a point.
History, according to Rajkumar Santoshi. Go and look at the collected
Sir,
works
don't be patronizing to fellow panelists on the program, please.
4 letters.
You are educated, please. I also read.
So
please,
you haven't read.
Don't
so
become personal.
I'm telling you.
I gave an example where you are
telling you.
Don't become personal on that.
I am telling you where you will
I am not alleging anything to you. Please don't become personal.
I am telling you where to find out the truth.
Don't become filmy. I have a lot of filmy talks for you.
Yeah, I'll become filmy. I'll do everything.
I now, one second, gentlemen.
In the collected works of Mahatma Gandhi, there are 4 letters written by Bapu to Lord Irving where he pleads for the commuting of the death sentence against Bhagat Singh. If you want, please go into the collected works and you will read those letters.
Well, we know, for example, we know that in the case of Bhagat Singh, we very well know what happened. I don't want to go there. We very well know what the British did to Bhagat Singh and what history happened at that time, who stood where. My point was this: Mahatma Gandhi's assassin Nathuram Godse's pardon was not for the Gandhi family to give. The Mahatma belonged to the nation. 1 minute. Do not.
the commuting of the death sentence was within the right of the family to do.
The point is, it is Mahatma belonged to the nation, and the nation's laws did what the laws deemed fit. This is not
immoral laws.
So your view,
immoral punishment must be challenged.
Ujjwal Nikam comes back to the debate. Is smiling. Ujjwal Nikam, please. I don't understand where the death penalty debate is being drawn into this case. Ujjwal Nikam.
Arnab, I'm very sorry to note that the question of retention or abolition of death penalty that has been politicized, more particularly in this particular case, for many reasons. And really, when the Supreme Court, after giving the due weightage to the facts and the circumstances of the case, and even after finding that there was no technical flaws which would cause any prejudice.
Yes.
I am emphasizing the word prejudice to the defense of the accused.
Yeah.
Then why unnecessarily being debated that the injustice is caused to a particular condemned prisoner or not? So I think the death penalty is being retained and maintained in our statute. It is given only in the very, very exceptional circumstances. And I think that acts as the only deterrent. Only I would like to add one rider that the process of trial, it should have been expedited. And unfortunately, in the trial of Bombay Bomb Blast case, I find that even the defense lawyer did not admit the post-mortem notes, victim's injury certificate, so that had made compelled us to examine almost all witnesses. That is one of the main reasons. So it was an accused deliberate attempt to prolong the hearing so that they can take easily this ground. Oh, I am languishing in the jail for 14 years, 20 years. But who is responsible for this all delay? If he'll peruse the Roznama of the whole court proceeding, then we'll find for a single document, damages certificate, which is not disputed. They did not cross-examine also. The inquest puncher, they did not cross-examine. But they asked us to call the witnesses. So there was a definite strategy on behalf of this accused person so that benefit can be taken, undue advantage can be taken, to make voice clear that no, there should not be death penalty. But the Supreme Court has rightly said that the conspirator is to be served with a very severe sentence, whereas the planter who acted in pursuit of the conspiracy, they should be given a separate treatment. That is a very noble judgment, I can say, and that is the reason why
before I go,
death penalty.
Before I go into a break, and it's a very short break, and this debate will continue. A simple point I'd like to make, I'm getting into this debate with a simple and basic point. Sanjay Hegde, you're welcome to respond. The fact is that the moment you oppose death penalty as a punishment but agree to a life sentence, you principally concede to Yakub Memon's, to the fact that Yakub A is guilty, which gives further credence to the court's judgment. The court has gone through all this. The problem, Tushar Gandhi, with you, with John Dayal, is that in your activism, you have forgotten, A, there is a law. There is something called the statute books. There is something called the facts and the merits of the case. There is something called the various levels of appeal. And I find it absolutely stunning that you choose to exercise your judgment in a case where 257 Indians were killed. Sanjay Hegde, what really is the defense here, please?
No, I'm not. Emotional,
there's no emotional.
Give me this emotional
the thing is,
sir,
that neither is the guilt. The guilt is conceded.
What's it, Sanjay Hegde?
The question is, what is an appropriate punishment?
That question does not apply in this case because
as Ujjwal Nikam
no, it doesn't, because the opposition.
Because you decide it doesn't.
Mr. Tushar Gandhi, I'd like to remind you that your opposition to the death penalty has become an excuse to invoke the commutation of death sentences in other cases by the Supreme Court. Your opposition to the death penalty has become an excuse to oppose Yakub's sentence by claiming that there were others who were far more guilty than he was. Then you proved to me tonight on this program, right here, right now, that there were others who were more guilty than he was. Prove it to me tonight, otherwise take back your charge.
I am not interested.
Prove it. No, how can you say not interested?
You because you are not interested in listening.
I am asking you to validate
my point about Arnab, the evilness of the death penalty at all.
Sir,
if you don't listen to the evilness and morality of the death penalty, you are asking me to prove my point. I don't care about the technicalities of the case. I am saying.
So, but you're arguing only on technicalities. You're arguing only on technicalities.
What I am saying is the punishment is equally evil and it should be done away with.
Okay. Debate is live on the Times Now app, and returning to the debate, the point was being made there by Aryama and Sundaram, who wanted to add something to the point I earlier made, and my point was this, that people like John Dayal, people like Tushar Gandhi, and presumably people like Sanjay Hegde have already conceded to the gravity of Yakub's guilt, to the depravity of his actions, to the diabolical nature of his role in the 1993 blast. So I really don't know who and why and for what reason they are fighting in this particular case, because their position seems a little confused. Now, Aryama and Sundaram opening back the debate. 10 or 2, Aryama and Sundaram goes first. Aryama and Sundaram goes first. Sanjay, coming to you. Aryama and Sundaram first.
Arnab, what I really find is a catch-22 situation is this. On the one hand, all those who are against the death penalty, and I repeat, including me, want it abolished, but it has not been abolished. It stands on the statute books. Now when you take a person, and it's one thing for the Supreme Court to say it's unconstitutional, there's no more death sentence, nobody will be given a death sentence. But the moment you give a person a death sentence and then you commute it to life imprisonment, the message you're giving is, this is not the maximum punishment I'm giving, this man deserves a lesser punishment.
True.
But the death penalty death penalty abolitionists are really saying that what this is really saying is that we are giving you a death penalty. No, let's strike at the action which is really abolish the death penalty. But so long it is there, you cannot commute in the one man's case a heinous crime like this from death to life imprisonment, because then the message you're giving is it was not that bad a crime.
Exactly. Sanjay Hegde countering you, sir.
Do not commute in a case
Sanjay Hegde.
No. No, the answer is not that. The answer is this. Mercy lies outside the judicial process. The judicial process is involved in determination of guilt and passing an appropriate sentence. Mercy lies in the executive domain. Should you extend mercy or not? It is an act of grace. Nobody has a right to it. And once mercy can be extended for several considerations. You will recollect that US presidents have been known on the last day in office to sign pardons. Just because
depends
you think
on
that
the case.
May have
Sanjay Hegde.
But what came up today was
depends on the
against
case.
the mercy petition. Hegde, what came up today was not against the mercy petition. What came up today was asking the Supreme Court to commute.
No, it did not. Who said that? I have not said it. I have not said that.
What came up was they said that procedurally there's an error. Therefore, the death warrant should not be given effect to, and there should be a rehearing. It wasn't a case of commutation today.
Depends on the case. The point is it goes case by case. Can anyone argue tonight, Sanjay Hegde included, and let me ask this question to Tushar Gandhi or John Dayal for this case. John Dayal, you tell me, does the gravity, depravity and heinousness of the crime have no bearing? Do the killers of Nirbhaya, who showed her no mercy while brutally assaulting her, deserve any mercy themselves? Do the killers of Nirbhaya who have the audacity to justify that heinousness in a documentary televised, most unfortunately, on national television, deserve any sympathy? In the case of Ajmal Kasab, you tell me, sir, or maybe John Dayal can tell me, do the lives of 60 people who Kasab shot dead without sparing a thought not matter? Do they matter or not matter? Does the agony of those who survived Kasab's diabolical war against India carry no weight?
Does the agony listen anyways by the killing of Kasab?
Sir, should the bravery...
Does the loss of a loved one be made good by the counter-killing
what is this? What is this? What kind of an argument is this, sir?
Of course.
Sir, should the bravery of Tukaram Obale go waste just because... No, I'm not... You are confusing matters. You are confusing matters, sir.
We honor Obale and his bravery. We honor the bravery of Obale. Don't confuse matters.
Sir, I am not confusing matters. You are confusing matters. You are confusing matters.
No, this is downright
crime rate.
Chicanery?
Yes.
Chicanery by whom, sir?
You.
Sir, this is...
You are confusing
Ajmal Kasab, I'm sorry.
We have not. We have never dishonored the memory of martyrs who laid down.
Sir, first of all...
Do not impute these kind of allegations.
Sir, let me tell you.
Sir, let me tell you. I will not accept this.
You may not. You may not. You may not. But I will. This is the fact. Is Ajmal Kasab? Ajmal Kasab.
I have not insulted the memory of a martyr, and never have I
Mr. Tushar Gandhi.
You will take these words back.
Mr. Tushar Gandhi, what words should I take back? Which words?
That I insult the memory of the martyr.
Mr. Tushar Gandhi, first of all, you did not let me complete my sentence.
Do not.
And the question I will ask you again. I will repeat the question. I will repeat the question. Should the bravery?
Right now.
I repeat the question.
Take back that allegation right now.
I repeat the question.
Take back that allegation right now.
Mr. Tushar Gandhi.
Take back that allegation right now.
I am asking the question again to the contrary.
Take back that allegation
I am asking the question.
Take back that allegation right now.
Are you overreacting? I am asking a question.
Right now. Right now.
Mr. Gandhi, you are overreacting.
I don't care.
Mr. Gandhi,
take back that allegation right now.
Mr. Gandhi, should...
You will take back that allegation.
What allegation?
Right
I repeat the question to you.
I did not.
I repeat the question to you. Let me ask you the question.
I have never ever insulted the memory of martyrs.
Mr. Gandhi, now listen to the question.
I have never ever insulted the memory of the martyrs. Unless you take back that allegation
First of all,
I will not allow this talk to proceed.
That is your choice.
If you don't
that
take
is
that
your
back,
choice.
You might as well just shut down this debate, because I will not let it proceed even a second further. You will take back that allegation
Mr. Gandhi,
right away.
Mr. Gandhi, first
you will take back that allegation right away. You will take back that question, rephrase it. But you will apologize for that allegation.
I will not apologize.
Because you have cast an aspiration.
No, I have not. I have asked a question. I have asked a question.
On my nationalism and my belief in the Indian idea.
Mr. Gandhi.
Will take back your allegation.
Mr. Gandhi. What are you saying? I'm asking a question. What was my question to you? What was my question to you?
You will take back
I think we'll have to proceed, Mr. Gandhi.
I don't care.
My question is,
out of your studio.
Mr. Gandhi, what are you doing? Who's put any allegation?
You said
what allegation?
You said
I never used the words you dishonor. You didn't even hear what I said.
You said I dishonor the memory of martyrs, and
these are your words, Mr. Gandhi.
No.
Your words you're using on yourself. What are you doing?
No. I'm not going to let you go ahead.
My question right now.
I am not going to let you go ahead. This may be your channel. I will not let this program proceed.
What are you doing, Mr. Gandhi?
I will not let this program proceed. I don't care what you do. You can throw me out of your studio. This program will not proceed.
Aryaman Sundaram is saying something to you. Aryaman Sundaram is saying something to you.
I don't
Aryaman Sundaram, please, is saying something. Aryaman Sundaram, go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Sundaram. Go ahead.
Gandhi.
I will not allow.
Go ahead, Mr. Sundaram.
I don't care.
Mr. Gandhi, I think
there's no accusation made unless you're trying to. Unless you concede, you don't have a
issue, Mr. Gandhi.
Mr. Gandhi, what are you saying? Nobody made an allegation. What are you saying?
I don't want to. I don't know.
Mr. Nobody made an allegation. Nobody's making an allegation. Somebody's asking a question. I did not. I did not. I did not. No, I did not. I remember.
You said I dishonor the memory of.
If you don't want to debate, you can tell me you don't want to. But this is the exact words of what I said. And by the way, speaking over others doesn't make you right. I am only being very polite.
No. You said that I dishonor the memory of the martyr.
No, I didn't say. I didn't say that. Relax, Mr. Gandhi.
You said that.
I didn't say that, Mr. Gandhi. When you go out, one second, Mr. Gandhi. Mr. Gandhi.
This is wrong.
Okay, Mr. Gandhi, one second. When you go out, you and I will go and see the tape. This is what I said. I said at the following words, and if you have the patience to listen, my words were this. Should the bravery of Tukaram go to waste just because, and that's when you stop me, some people feel that Kasab should be spared the news on moral and ethical grounds. This was my question. I don't see how that amounts to an insult. Because Ajmal Kasab, because Ajmal Kasab not only killed many people, he also wounded hundreds psychologically and physically. Should he be rewarded with kindness and mercy in return? That's my question to you.
You allege that if I had asked for mercy for Ajmal Kasab, it would be dishonoring the memory of the martyrs.
To the contrary, my question was, does the agony...
No.
I really don't know what you're saying now, Mr. Gandhi. The question was, hear him.
Entirely correct.
No. He's sitting next to you. He heard us, and this is what I said. Does the agony of those...
It makes
you don't want to argue. You can tell him. You just want to get your point and add nauseum without listening to others. That's the problem with liberals. They think only they know what is right. Please, you don't have a right to know. Everybody else also has a right.
It makes me
look not necessary that you are only right.
Okay, I'm taking a...
demonize the martyrs.
And
I don't.
He has again repeated himself. You don't want to listen because you just want to have your point of view. It's not liberalism. You are redefining liberalism. You are totally blocking. You are blocking the debate.
If I am saying,
how can you make this?
You are blocking the debate.
No, Mr.
That's not the way.
How can you make these?
Nobody is making an allegation. I'm saying to you 1,000 times. I have said that. No, he
is sitting quietly. You're stopping the whole debate.
Because you are not stopping the debate. The question is, we are on a point here, which is a point of debate, that should society be protected from an element who is trained to believe that killing people is heroism. Killing people is not heroism. Should a person who attacks the moral fabric of our society and security of our country be treated sparingly? This is a valid point of debate. I don't know what is wrong in asking that question. Do you not become a liberal by asking that question? That what definition of liberalism are we talking about? My question in the context of Afzal Guru was this: should a person, for example, who has played a role in the attack on a sacrosanct place like Parliament be spared for what he has done? Is it wrong of me to ask that question? Do the lives, for example, if I ask of Delhi police personnel, Nanak Chand, Rampal, Om Prakash, all the others, pale in comparison to Afzal Guru's right to live? These are valid questions.
When we debate,
these are valid questions. These are valid questions, Mr. Gandhi.
When we debate the death sentence,
these are valid questions, Mr.
Gandhi. That those who question are anti-national.
When we debate the death sentence, when you say that if you oppose the death sentence, you are dishonoring martyrs, that becomes vicious.
Mr. Gandhi,
it's an argument.
The question is,
not an argument.
The question is,
not an acceptable argument.
Okay, fine. Mr. Gandhi has a point.
You've given your point of view. Now, Sanjay Hegde is saying something. Sanjay Hegde, coming to RSN Singh and Sanjay Hegde, back to the debate, please. Yes, please, go ahead.
See, the point is this, that the victims are entitled to every sympathy, and not only sympathy, whatever help we can give. But after all, in law, the ultimate thing is how do you deal with the criminal? As far as the criminal is concerned, the decision is first taken by a judge, and then the executive takes a further decision whether mercy has to be extended to him or not. The executive decision is different from the judicial decision. The executive decision can be predicated on various things. The executive can say that no, this is not the right time to hang. The executive may also say that these are things which are best left unaddressed. That these are events of so long ago that we should not open fresh wounds. Just listen to me. The reasons for mercy can be many. But the reason to hang can be only one. The reason to hang is that there has been a judicial process. That is all that the person is entitled to. After that, if the judicial process finds him guilty and sentences him to death, I am not going to interfere.
Sir, my point at this stage is, and please let us be open to it, we know three things and RSN Singh will respond to it. Point number one, death penalty as a punishment is not ordered arbitrarily. It is ordered in the rarest of rare cases. You are a lawyer. You know what the apex court said in Bachchan Singh versus State of Punjab, which said, quote, a real and abiding concern for the dignity of human life postulates.
Just a minute.
No. Let me complete this.
Also said
let me complete this,
where the lesser alternative is unquestionably foreclosed.
Mr. Hegde, three things.
That's what
Mr. Hegde,
you jump for the headline.
Mr. Hegde, you are a lawyer. I am not, but I have a little understanding of the law. Little understanding, a layman understanding perhaps. Bachchan Singh versus State of Punjab said a real and abiding concern for the dignity of human life postulates resistance to taking a life through law's instrumentality. That ought to be done, save in the rarest of rare cases when the alternative option is unquestionably foreclosed. Now, that's nothing insulting about that. Point number 2, death penalty. I'll just make 3 points before Tushar Gandhi heckles me again. One second. One second. Before Tushar Gandhi comes in to heckle me again, and heckling is a form of violence, and let me tell you this, nobody, including Mahatma Gandhi, approved of violence. Death penalty is ordered only after weighing critical, aggravating and mitigating circumstances. And my last and most simple and humble submission to the panelists is this: death penalty is not revenge. Death penalty.
Revenge by law.
I am really sorry. That is where death penalty. It is not a form of revenge. It is not a form of revenge. It is the maximum. It is the maximum deterrence. It is the maximum punishment for deterrence.
Gandhi, tell why
Please.
Middle East countries have less crime and very good society.
What kind of?
Because there are deterrent laws.
Friday they chop off hands and.
One second. RSN Singh responding. RSN Singh.
Friday they have new batch of hands.
RSN Singh now, please, who hasn't spoken so far. RSN Singh, please.
Mr. Gandhi, can I come in, please?
Yeah, RSN Singh, go ahead.
Look, Arnab, the people who have been trying to communalize this whole affair, they have a lesson to draw from what has happened in the last 48 hours. The former President APJ Kalam passed away. The whole nation stood up to salute him, to pray for his soul. And here was a man who was pronounced to be hanged, and the whole nation breathed a sigh of relief. The nation is not euphoric. This is India, and these are the Indians for you, for God's sake. Those who are questioning the hanging, I mean, if you dilute the deterrence, where do you stop?
Yeah.
Tomorrow, I mean, a few years down the line, say if we were to do away with this death punishment, you would say that, they don't even give them life imprisonment, send them to some reformatory or the other. And for God's sake, all the people say that
Mr. Singh is trivializing the debate.
I don't know how civilized.
Mr. Singh is trivializing it.
No. Okay. Agreed. I am trivializing the debate. But nevertheless, listen to me. And just don't interrupt. I didn't interrupt when you were speaking. The other point is that whatever policies you make is also dependent on your threat perception. And let me tell you, we are the biggest victim of terrorism in the world. So can you compare with your policies with some other countries which has the luxury of being insulated from, this kind of terrorism?
Okay.
And what Yakub Memon did, he was not an ordinary criminal. He was a man who waged war against India. He is the man who was the harbinger of proxy war in
this stage.
India. And it is after 93 that,